Good evening, my name is Janae Moore. Let's begin. How would you feel being beaten with a metal rod and shocked with a taser every day of your life just because you weren't doing something right? Abused, strapped up, and tortured is the everyday life of a circus animal. Tonight I will be covering why they are not meant to be tamed and taken as domestic pets, what happens to them in training, and when they retaliate, and why they retaliate on human beings at shows, and how we can help ban animals from these acts and protest against this torture. One, circus animals are not meant to be kept as domestic pets. Appropriate care for wild animals requires considerable amount of expertise and time, maybe even a lifetime, because their nutritional and social needs need to be met, and in many cases they're unknown. This is because they grew up in the wild. Their eating habits was formed around nature. How they lived was formed around nature. They're not used to being caged up and told what to do, because that's just not their instinct and not how they grew up. They spread diseases that are very dangerous to humans, such as rabies, salmonella, and herpes A and B. And once again, domestication takes centuries. They cannot be domesticated simply by being captive born and hand raised. It's different with cats and dogs. They depend on humans to feed them, to care for them, to nurture them, to clean up after them if need be. But with wild animals, their instincts aren't to be loved and carried by humans. It's to be carried by who birthed them or the people around them. Their eating habits, they eat what they want, what they need to eat. The food chain. In training, circuses that use wild animals are aggressively promoted by the circus industry as safe, fun, and wholesome family entertainment. This couldn't be further from the truth. After the show, after the curtains have gone down and the glitz and glamour and all the hyper yelling and happy families and popcorn and happiness, animals remain involuntary participants in a degrading spectacle, performed not because they want to, because they are forced to. They are beaten and abused just to perform for the laughter of humans. But unlike the human entertainers, animals do not choose the circus life. Training methods for animals involve varying degrees of punishment and deprivation. They are afraid of what might happen to them after the show if they don't do what they're told to do. Which leads to my next point. They retaliate because they are wild animals. You can only train them but so much. When they perform in front of thousands of people, there's nothing natural or humane about the process. They develop psychological problems as a result of being ripped away from their habitat and their environment. With these psychological problems causes them stress, and a lot of stress, so they begin to act out against commands and threats out of pure fear. So when they're under stress during a show or an act, they'll retaliate because that's in their instinct. They were born to retaliate against stress and fear and hurt. And in conclusion, to start banning wild animals from circuses, we can start protesting and boycotting at local circuses. We can start making petitions for animal-free circuses such as Cirque du Soleil, which is a great show if you've ever seen it. It's only humans and they do all these crazy acts, and it's great. Like, no animals are needed. So all I'm trying to persuade you today is that you can give these animals a voice. You can help them get their word out. So, thank you.